Hello. Today I'll be doing a very special video. This is my second attempt doing it, and I'll be honoring the legacy and the artwork of Jonghyun today. And this is going to be focusing on his clever lyricism, his artistry, and celebrating the life that he led while he was here on Earth. And we just had the 5th year commemoration of his ascension. And I know that it's a difficult time each year for the Showls, the SHINee fans. So I just wanted to share, I think, the best way to honor such a great artist as Jonghyun is to honor his work and keep listening to his music. And I know some people have a hard time listening to him. I'm going to minimize myself right now. But once you just allow yourself to grieve and feel whatever you're feeling and listen, that's how you show the love and connect to his spirit. He imbues so much of himself into his art, and I think he put his heart and soul into it. He put a lot of thought into it, as you will see as I show some examples. And I'm going to be showing not the work that is his most known work. And this is very different from my usual posts on this channel. So for those of you who are new, I am Steph, and most of my posts on this channel are the DVD and Blu-ray movies that I've designed while I was a graphic designer for 16 years. And currently I'm a yoga instructor, Reiki master, sharing mindfulness tools to help people be more creative. So anybody that's wanting to be more creative and find your purpose and true expression, express yourself freely, that's what my work is. And so I really love studying people who are very creative, the creative geniuses of the world, and especially love music. And even when I used to design full-time for over 16 years, music has been an integral part of that creative process. So all the DVD menus that I've been designing that I showcase on this channel, music is always being played in the background while I was working. And even when I worked on site at an office setting, we used to always share our playlists over the network, and everyone had headphones on listening to music while they work. So for visual artists, music is very important. It's a very integral process of the creative process. And music in general is very healing. It's what unites us universally. And even if you don't understand the language, you feel the emotion, especially with the singer like Jonghyun. And to commemorate his anniversary, the 5-year, on December 18th, I wanted to do this video. And actually, I tried to do one yesterday, but there were a lot of technical issues. So it was hard to, there were a lot of parts that the audio got cut out. So because I put myself away to have what I'm sharing be full screen by itself, but I'm gonna have to stay on screen for you to get the audio. So until I figure that out, bear with me. So for this stream, I have to keep myself on screen at all times so that the audio doesn't get cut off. So please share with me your favorite Jonghyun song or any favorite moments that brought you joy or that's comforted you, because everything he put out really helped people be comforted. He did a lot of songs that are comforting. He had a great sense of humor, and even on variety shows, he was very funny and witty. He's really good with words, and that's why I'm focusing on his lyrics today. And I'll just briefly talk about how I discovered Jonghyun. And for me, I'm a huge Maxwell fan, so you'll see that I've shared some concert footages, fan cams on this channel. So definitely have been sharing some music on here, fan cams from Boy George and Common and Maxwell. I'm also a huge fan of Prince and Michael Jackson, Erykah Badu, the whole neo-soul, R&B and hip-hop. That really makes you feel the love frequency as well as raising consciousness. And I believe Jonghyun is one of those artists that has really done that and really changed the projection of the K-pop industry. And in such a conservative country, being an idol, which is very taboo to support LGBTQT and the trans community. He fully supported anybody that was discriminated and spoke up for those who are not privileged to get hurt. So he used his status for the good and really promoted love, understanding differences instead of judging, being accepting. So those were what he really stood for. And as I've mentioned, I'm a huge Maxwell fan. And in 2016, Maxwell went to Korea for the Seoul Soul Festival. And he was interviewed by Jonghyun on Jonghyun's Blue Night radio show that he hosted. And through that, he also really connected to a lot of listeners and listened to their problems and gave a lot of had really good advice columns. So I got to really see how beyond the years, his thought process was, and he talked a lot about his artwork on his Blue Night radio show. So I'm a huge fan of it, and I've been doing a lot of re-listening, the replays of those, and it's a great way to connect with him. And so I'm very glad that I'm able to understand Korean. My Korean is not the best, but in terms of knowing all the more, in terms of vocabulary, but I have a good basics of Korean, and I have, my pronunciation is, I don't have an accent when I speak Korean. So to start, I just wanted to let you know that I discovered Jonghyun through that Maxwell interview on his Blue Night radio. And he was such a good interviewer that he really allowed Maxwell to open up. And I've listened to and watched a lot of Maxwell's interviews over the years, and I've never seen him as open as he was with as he was with Jonghyun. But I don't think Jonghyun knew that, and I wish there was a way I could have told him. But I listened to some of the episodes from a few months after his interview with Maxwell, and he was kind of laughing at himself, saying he couldn't really say more than a few sentences during the whole interview and didn't get to ask him as many questions as he wanted to. And he thought, I think he's very hard on himself, and he thought he didn't do that well, but I think it was one of the best interviews. And he was probably really nervous and excited. And I hope that, that really made him happy. And so when I discovered that he was also a singer, Maxwell really complimented him, and he knew that he did a cover of his song, This Woman's Work. And I can't play it here, but it was on this Picnic Live. I'm not gonna play it because I will get blocked by NBC, but I just wanted to show you just like just the at least like still shots from it. Yeah, that's a good photo. So I'm gonna put a link to this, but I suggest you, if you haven't watched it, I suggest you watch the whole thing. It's a great thing to listen to and watch on a Sunday morning. And he sang his Deja Love Belt and his other solo songs. And it's really beautifully done in an intimate setting. And you get to see how he interacts with people, and he kind of talks to people about their, gives advice on this show also. So it kind of gives you an idea of how he was on the Blue Night, and this is English subtitled. So I will share this link in the description once my live becomes available. Oh. Yeah, so I want to make sure I don't play that. And then I also love this look with the suit and the dark hair. I think he looked good in any hair color, but definitely I think he really looked good with the dark hair. And yeah, so that was the Blue Night Radio, and you can find few clips here and there with some English subtitles, but you won't find like a whole episode. So there are places that you can listen to, and there are few episodes that were video broadcast. So before I get into the lyrics that I'm really, really impressed with, that really show his cleverness of his creativity, is Waffle's hashtag. But before we get started, I'm making this mainly for the international fans. And it's one of his pet peeves, or people not pronouncing his name right. So just like when you ask, these K-pop, as a K-pop fans that don't speak Korean, yeah, I understand that you want to understand what they're saying, and you want to be able to communicate with them. So, and English is an international language, so you kind of want and demand them to speak English, especially once they become global. But it's not that easy to learn English, and Jonghyun was someone that thought, since he is Korean, there's no shame in not knowing English. And I think he understood English really well. He did study it, but I don't think he was really comfortable like doing conversation. So his pronunciation was really good of the few words that he knew, and he understood a lot, but I don't think he felt comfortable like speaking it like in a live Instagram live, that kind of setting, to communicate with people, especially one way. So I think it's best not to just demand artists to speak English in these lives. But his if you're gonna be a K-pop fan, and if you're liking an artist, I think it's important to learn their language. It's a great opportunity to learn a new language, learn the culture, as many of Showels do, and the Bling Bling Jonghyun fans. But I've noticed that some people don't pronounce his name right. So his name is Jonghyun. The Hyun part is what most people get it wrong, and that's the one that he's more sensitive about. So it's Jonghyun. And in Korea, you don't do acronyms of the names like that. So you don't just call Jonghyun Jong. You don't shorten the names. Like, my name is Stephanie, and I go by Steph sometime. And in America, that's very common. But with Korean names, you don't do that. It's Jonghyun. So don't just call him Jong. And it's not Yeon or Yon. It's Hyun with the H, Ya, and an N. Hyun. Jonghyun. So I just wanted to share that before we get into the hashtag Waffle. So before I play the VCR from his concert Inspiration. Let me just keep it on this. So I wrote it here, Waffle. Hashtag. So this song is from his Poet Artist, the last album that was released in 2018, and this is the track 3. and it's has a groovy beat, kind of cool, chill vibe, melodically. But then the meaning, the lyrics, this can only be done in Korean, and it just shows you it's one of the best examples of how he can just see outside the box and how he creatively thinks and links something like this that I think most people couldn't think of. And he created a really cute video to show it for his concert, the inspiration, not not X inspiration, but actually his concert inspired. And I wish that there was a high resolution that's released for it and just make it into a music video. But there's only a fan cam that I found, so I'm very grateful that I found this. And I will definitely put a link in the description of it, so you can also watch it on your own. But you know, the hashtag, the pound sign, is the pattern that's in the waffles. And this is talking about all the malicious comments, the gossip. And so it's a song, anti-gossip, anti-malicious comment song. And I think it's really important and prominent even more so now, especially with this, during the pandemic, there's been so much division and people just jumping into conclusions based on few facts and then arguing about it and being very mean. And it's easy to just write, and what you put out will come back to you tenfold. So just be very mindful and be kind and know how these words can really affect people. So this song is pretty much kind of cleverly poking fun at it, but at the same time with a very strong message of how it's wrong. And in Korean, I wrote it here. Waffle is waffle, and akpul is malicious comments. So they rhyme. Waffle, akpul. So that's what the clever association is, that the two words rhyme in Korean. So this can't be really done in other language. And then the hashtag symbol is the pattern that's on the waffle. So without further ado, I will play that fan cam of this song. And I'm very thankful to share this Shining Blue posted this. This is my favorite part. Oops. Yeah, so that was Waffle hashtag. Let me just go back to it. I really want to that. I can't get the frame that has him taking a bite of it. Yeah, that's too fast. So anyway, so that was Waffle. So basically, he's talking about how these gossips, they're heard by someone else's friends or in-laws, or it's always heard from like fourth, third party. It's never a direct source. And then people take that and make it into a fact and just make opinions and malicious comments online based on these facts and also gossiping about it. So he's saying just eat your waffle. He's pretty much saying just shut up and eat your waffle. So he's saying eat your waffle, eat your malicious comments, but in a nice, clever, artistic, poetic way, not in a malicious, mean way. So, and I just love this video. And, you know, I'm a big fan of waffle just as a food. I'm a big foodie. So that just really made it extra special. And I do love the music too. And so it's important. I know that it's hard for some of you to still listen to him or hear his voice. But I think, you know, it's okay to feel all the emotions. That's part of the healing process. And one of my intention for coming on here, I really debated whether to do this or not. But I do feel that highlighting creatives is going to be one of the things I'm going to do on this channel, especially once I run out of any of the archives of the DVD menus that I've created that I can share on here. And I might even talk about my experience being a DVD designer if that's what you're interested. Because I pretty much started from the inception of the DVD to pretty much the end of it, because now everything is just in the streaming services. But anyway, I'm diverting here. So I thought that was very clever. It really shows the genius that he is as a lyricist, and he's done so many amazing other songs. I think he also put so much time into putting an album together in the old traditional sense of how musicians always used to create albums back in the days. And nowadays, everyone just kind of focuses more on single and they don't care about the whole album as much. But he really is one of those artists, even though he's young, like I said, he's like an old soul empath and a highly sensitive person, which makes him very creative and compassionate. And the Blue Night radio show also gave him a lot of inspirations, and he collected all the problems that people sent in, or they're sharing their stories, made it into lyrics, and created those compilation CDs of the story, Op 1 and Op 2. And so I think with the type of artist that he is, it's really beneficial as a listener who really appreciates music and appreciates him to listen to the whole album from beginning to the end. And every song, all the beat tracks are just as good as the title track. So he's one of those few musicians that you won't be skipping songs when you listen to the album. And those are usually the type of artists that I tend to really become a fan of. People who really put their soul imprints, the true essence into their artwork instead of just following trends. So he's artist in the depth of what it means to be an artist. And I think if you really want to honor his name as a musician, he really loved music, he loved performing, and those joy that he showed on stage and the appreciation he showed for his fans. There's nothing fake about it. He wasn't putting on an act. Just because someone has depression doesn't mean you're in that depressed state all the time. And the times that he really showed, and he really put so much effort into being healthy, studying how he can be better. When you listen to his Blue Night radio show, you'll know that he knew a lot about, seeking help and how he always sought to make himself better. And I'm not going to get too much into those parts of him. I'm going to focus more on his art on this video. If anybody wants to talk about it, I might be able to share a little more. But what I want to say in general, not just about him, is that everybody is different. There's healing methods that are different for each person, that's unique to them. Every situation is different, so you can't just put a label around someone and generalize. And nobody knows except for him what the truth is. So don't make any speculation and don't make judgments about any situation regarding his passing, or I like to call it ascension, rising to heaven. And I know some people know that he was an atheist, so they probably don't like that term of going to heaven, but he definitely went to a higher place. And I don't want to get too woo-woo. As I mentioned, I'm a Reiki master. I'm very sensitive to energy. I'm also an empath, and that's why I'm very connected to music, especially by someone like Jonghyun. And you really feel the emotion. And as a vocalist, going back to this woman's work, that's when I discovered him with that cover of this woman's work by Maxwell. And it's actually, I'm going to just talk about him as a vocalist for a moment while talking about streaming his music and all that, his albums. This woman's work was originally sang by a female singer, Kate Bush, and it was a soundtrack for She's Having a Baby. And Maxwell heard that song when he was watching that movie. And when he appeared on the MTV Unplugged, he was asked to do a cover, and he thought it would be interesting for a man to sing a woman's song. And Maxwell is definitely one of those artists that really honor women and always fights for women's rights. So, Jonghyun, I think, is the same way. And he really, as a young, I think when he was in his teens, studying singing, he said that he sang a lot of Brian McKnight songs. He really loved all the R&B singers like D'Angelo, Brian McKnight, and definitely Maxwell was one of them. And so I'm just happy that he got to meet his idol and interview him, and Maxwell gave him the best compliment because he heard him singing this woman's work, which not too many people can cover, and he covered it so amazingly. And he discovered this woman's work through Maxwell's MTV Unplugged CD, and he sang that at that picnic show that I just shared the screen of but couldn't play, so that my video doesn't get blocked. So definitely check it out. And when I first heard his cover of this song, which not too many people can cover, I had like full chills because his voice was just so amazing and every note was sang so perfectly. And I was so impressed by him. So I don't want to just categorize him as a K-pop artist, but he's one of the best vocalists, I think, in the music industry as a whole. And I definitely want to give him that credit. And he worked really hard. He put so many hours and he mastered his voice so that he can really put the intention and expression, whatever he wanted to express through his voice, through singing, he was able to control that at his will. And that took so much effort. He's gifted. I think he was born gifted, but he also put that work to master vocally. So I don't think not too many people, whether it's from the Western or K-pop, can come close to that. So to honor him in general, not just during December or his birthday in April, it's really important to stream his music on the streaming sites like Apple Music, Spotify, instead of listening to it on YouTube posted by, other channel owners. Of course, you want to support the other fan pages too, but to really honor his name, his legacy, even if you have a CD that you bought physically, please do listen to him on the streaming sites like Amazon Music, Pandora, Tidal, Apple Music, whatever streaming services that you use. And I don't know about his whole catalog, but definitely I am aware that the proceeds from his last album that was released post, The Poet, the Artist, which has this hashtag song in, it benefits, the proceeds go to SHINee Foundation, which was set up by Jonghyun's mom and run by his sister. And this is their YouTube site, but there's also Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter, I believe, and they have a website. And they hold events annually. As you can see here, and a lot of people, his loved ones, still support this organization. So they also do like fundraising events, and proceeds from his music, I think it includes the streaming as well as the CD sales, which I believe, I don't think there's any more physical CD you can purchase, but I could be wrong. I mean, through the sources that the proceeds go to is what I mean. You can definitely get physical CDs from a third party, but I'm trying to get proceeds to go to this foundation. So I'm sharing sources that will do that. And this foundation is set up by his mom to help young artists who would not normally be able to afford to, get their music out there. And it also supports mental health for youth. So I think it's a great way to support his legacy and invest in the next generation of creatives, musicians. And I also want to share a funny, and so he was all about non-judgment, and this was him on the radio show as a radio DJ, which he loved doing. That was one of his dreams. And he also wrote a book that's only in Korean that I think his biggest love was writing, from what I gather from listening to his Blue Night radio show. And he also saw the songs as a way to tell story. He wanted to be a storyteller more than anything. And he wanted to also do that through his songs as well. And that's why his lyrics are so amazing. And his album should be listened to as a whole because he's telling you a story. And based on his lyrics, he also wrote a novel. And I think it's really hard to get a copy of it, and it's only in Korean, not translated in English. And then he was also in the process of writing a thriller novel, I believe. But he said that was the genre that he loved the most. So he was all about spreading non-judgment, love, kindness, and he really listened to people and had this aura of acceptance when he listened to people. And that's why the guests that came on his radio show were able to open up, and you allow them to be themselves in his messages, accepting differences. And that's why he was such an advocate for various communities that were being outcasted or discriminated against. And yeah, that's, I think, one of his biggest legacy, that he was brave enough to speak up his mind in a time and country, society that he was living in, that most people in his position wouldn't have the courage to do. So he was a very brave young man, as I said, wise beyond his years, especially when you listen to him give advice. And he was very health conscious. He didn't see any shame in seeking, psychological help if you had, issues. Whereas in Korea, it's very taboo to go to a therapist. Whereas in America, just going to a therapist is very common. And I wanted to share a funny, humorous story from one of his Blue Night Radio episode. And this was from 2015, September 17th. And he was sharing his love of T-Pain on this show, on this episode. And he wanted to share one of his songs on the radio show, but they were all like too explicit to be able to play on this radio. So he like really searched and finally found a song he could bring here. And it's called Chopped and Screwed. And the lyrics are actually hilarious. It's still not that. It's still kind of racy. But he did his best to find the more listener friendly for the mainstream radio that he could play. And this just serves as an example of his listening ability as an artist, to be non-judgmental and be able to see the genius in others. And this is during this time, T-Pain really used autotune to the next level. And most people made fun of him, even like really top singers that are known to be like real singers in the industry. When he would run into them in like airplane or somewhere, they would insult him, saying he's ruining the music industry by introducing such thing and just having anybody be able to sing and ruining it for the real singers. But instead, Jonghyun saw the genius in him. And I'm just going to play a little bit of this just to show the excitement. And even if you don't understand what he's saying, you could hear the excitement in this when he's introducing this song. And he thought he was such a genius as the way he used the autotune. And even though Jonghyun didn't use autotune that much, he really thought he was really excited and appreciative of how T-Pain used it. And he was a fan of T-Pain, which was not something you would expect. And then the most genius part of this observation is that, when all these people made fun of T-Pain, put him down very harshly, it turns out that T-Pain is actually a really amazing vocalist. And he appeared on The Masked Singer in America, the American version. And I don't remember if it was season 1 or 2. And he surprised everyone because he sang amazingly without autotune every week. And he ended up being the winner that season. And everyone was so shocked when it was T-Pain. And that just goes to show you that, you don't want to just judge people and put people down without really getting to know them. And I've also watched the documentary, I think it was on Netflix or Hulu, on autotune. I don't remember what streaming service it was, but there was a documentary on autotune. And initially, it was the person that created autotune created it not for musicians to use it, the way T-Pain did, and also Cher was one of the first ones to use it in her, I believe, in Love After Love. I think that's the title. And it was actually designed for scientific purposes, but T-Pain used it. So that just goes to show you can really think outside the box and use tools to do something very different that feels unique to you, regardless of what anyone thinks. And Jonghyun saw that. So this is what I wanted to share about not being non-judgmental, spreading love, respecting. And he really respected other artists.
제 개인적으로 티페인 되게 좋아하거든요. 어떤 곡을 막 골라올까 하다가 다 19금이더라고요. 그래갖고 제가 좋아하는 노래는 다 19금이야. 그래서 푸른 밤에서는 들려드릴 수가 없어서 그래도 그 중에 또 틀어드릴 수 있는 곡이 있어가지고 다행히 가져왔습니다.
Yeah, this is when he's talking about how everything was too explicit, that he really loves T-Pain, but he couldn't, he had a really hard time selecting the songs that he really wanted to share. He couldn't bring it on the show, but fortunately he was able to find one that he could play on the show.
로다크리스랑 함께한 찹스 앤 스크루드라는 곡인데요. 이 노래는 되게 T-Pain의 어떤 시그니처인 오토튠 사운드가 되게 매력적으로 또 표현이 되어 있기도 하면서 보컬 편집이 되게 아주 기가 막히게 돼 있어요.
He's saying the editing of how he edited the auto-tuned voice is very clever. So he was able to listen. When he listens to songs, he could, because he was also an amazing producer, so he could kind of guess how the pieces came together. And he's saying that he just sang that chorus part once, and then he copied and pasted and edited it in post to create the chorus part.
힙합 디제잉을 할 때 그걸 트랙에 이제 보컬을 입히고 그걸 마치 드럼 비트처럼 찍었다고 생각이 들 만큼 되게 찹스 앤 스크루드라는 이 후렴구가 상당히 찹스 앤 스크루 찹스 앤 스크루 이런 식으로 나오는데 되게 아마 제 생각에 찹스 앤 스크루드 이거 한번 부르고 그거 다 편집해서 후작업으로 만든 것 같아요. 되게 매력적으로 잘 해놨더라고요. 한번 들어보시죠. 네, 발매된 지는 좀 오래된 노래지만 그래도 지금 들어도 상당히 매력적인 그런 곡입니다. T-Pain과 로다크리스가 함께한 찹스 앤 스크루드 듣고 오겠습니다.
So he's saying it's a song that was released a while ago, but it still sounds really cool. And it was featuring Lyricist. So he was introducing the song, and you get to hear the excitement and how he was mimicking. I thought that was really cute. So these were a lot of things that I had in my mind, and I was debating whether to share them or not. And I wanted to share them in like little clips here and there, but I decided that I would just do it as a whole, as a commemoration to him, and encourage you to really honor his name and legacy. And he deserves all our love in this way, because what he loved the most was music and writing and performing and connecting with his fans. And his most famous solo song is End of a Day, which was written, I'm just gonna show a little part here. It's pretty much after a long, hard day. And this is one of my favorite live, and I'll also share this. And I just love that sweater look. See, I'm just gonna show you and this also has English lyrics too. So it's basically saying you did a good job. you really worked hard, which is 수고했어요, 고생했어요 in Korean. And this was inspired by his dog, the dachshund he has, named Ru. So your small shoulders, your small hands. He's referring to his dog Ru, became my cozy blanket at the end of a tiring day. So it's to, he came back really late after the radio show and everyone else is sleeping, but he's just ending his day right when people are about to begin their day. And he's saying that he was so grateful to his puppy for always greeting him. So he was inspired by that and wrote this song. So I think it's so beautiful that this song, especially as a dog lover myself, that he really also loved animals, and that's another sign of an empath. And I believe he really felt the world's sorrow, really took all the burdens without even knowing. And when you do that as an empath, that you do that subconsciously without knowing. And then sometimes it's hard to even decipher what's your feeling or what is other people's or the collective that you are taking on. And, he really allowed himself to be vulnerable. And he also, when he's performing the music, he would often cry because he gets so touched by the lyrics and feels the lyrics so much. And, he really knew how to emote through his voice. And that's why when you listen, especially someone as an empath, when you listen to him, really gets straight into the heart. And I think that's what makes him so much more special. And I really appreciate that such an artist exists especially in the Korean music industry, representing Korea. And, I just wanted to do this to honor him. I felt really strong about sharing at least what I've learned about him in a different way that hopefully that's different from what you normally hear, because people just talk about the more surface popular ones. And he was, again, had so much depth. He did so much for the world. And I think he contributed so much more than most people did in their lifetime. And I really appreciate, and let's keep remembering him, honor his work. And the best way to honor an artist is through his work, through his art. And just give thanks. And I want to tell him 수고했어요, 고생했어요, just like his end of a day song lyric. And I'm honored that I got to share this time on earth the same time that he was here, and being Korean American, sharing the same language. And I come from a family of artists, and my grandfather established the art university in Cheongju, which is one of the provinces of Korea in the south, in the countryside, more suburban city, I would say. And he co-founded that with someone named Kim Jonghyun, which I think is very ironic but synchronistic, that I have that connection, even though it's a different person. That name, I guess, is very special to me. And as a Maxwell fan also. And his song Moon was also inspired by Prince. So I think, and he loved bossa nova, and I love bossa nova. I love Spanish songs. So there's a lot of connection that I feel with him more so than any other Korean artist. And I really wanted to highlight the genius of the way he thought. And I mean, all his songs have such amazing lyrics and heart and passion and feel. So please share your favorite song, your favorite memories, especially if you went to his show. And I unfortunately missed the SHINee concert that was done in LA, but I saw some clips on YouTube, and I noticed that that was at the Shrine Auditorium, and that's the stage that I walked to get my university diploma when I graduated from USC. So, I mean, that's like a far-fetched connection, but to me, it just, I don't know, there's so many connections that I feel. And we also want to support every member of SHINee and as a group and as solo artists. And I think Jonghyun would also appreciate that because he really loved being a member of SHINee. He loved all his members like family. And that's one thing, he was so proud to be a member of SHINee. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much. If you listened all the way here, please leave the 5 diamonds for OT5. And let's always honor and remember Jonghyun for the artist, the brilliant songwriter, producer, singer, dancer, performer, and most importantly, what a compassionate, beautiful person he was. And keep spreading love, kindness, and non-judgment through what he represented. And as a fan, you want to keep spreading that message like domino effect to really help this world become a more loving, peaceful place, and that we will always be connected through love, through our hearts, and he will always live in your heart. And remember that you are not alone, and you can connect with him through these songs, through listening to the Blue Night Radio. And I hope I've helped in some way. And if you have any other requests, let me know. And I wish I could translate every episode of Blue Night, but that would be like beyond a full-time job. But yeah, thank you so much. And hope if you have favorite holiday movies, also share with me. Mine is Elf and the Holiday. And I've uploaded I had the honor of working on that movie, so I uploaded a very small button demo. That was my latest video post. So if you want more content like this, let me know. And please like, share, and spread the love. Thank you. I'll just come on for a little bit. So thank you so much. Sending you lots of love. And my dog is also here. Come here, Daisy. Let me show you my doggy. So that's the reason why I'm especially on Daisy. This is Daisy. So we are appreciative of that end of a day song more, especially as a dog lover, as we honor our dogs as a family member. So bye. Thank you so much. See you next time. And have a wonderful holidays.